It's time for the chip race.
We're joined now by the fabulous Kat Arnsby. Kat, welcome to the show.
Hello.
First of all, I want to say right out of the gate what a big fan I am of your writing, your blog, which can be found, I think, at thepokerbaffer.com. Is that right?
Nailed it, yeah.
Yeah. It's genuinely one of the funniest things out there in terms of poker blogs. I think one of its strengths, aside from the humour, is that it just comes across very honest, and it comes from a very, I think, fair place as well. You've been both a player and an industry professional. How much do you think your writing has been enriched by seeing the game from both sides?
Well, it's hard to say, because sometimes I think like a player, and sometimes I still think like a tournament director. So I think it's probably been influenced by both sides from the start. I don't think, if I'd never played poker, I don't think I'd have as much opinion on it. And if I'd never been a TD, I don't think I wouldn't find that element of balance sometimes, because it's easier, I think, as a TD to detach from the game. Like when you're actually playing and you have a dispute or you're involved or your money's involved, it's a lot harder to separate yourself emotionally from the game. Whereas when you're on the organisational side, you don't have that same emotional attachment. It's more of a business thing. So I think it's probably both sides inform me equally, really.
Kat, we hung out quite a bit at the Unibest Bucharest Festival last year. You played the Ladies Battle Royale sit and go during that trip. What was that experience like, and what do you think of ladies only events?
Always. That's a bit of a hot topic at the moment, isn't it? I mean, I loved that event. That was just super fun. We were all drinking, having just a really big laugh.
You're drinking a lot.
Well, a lot. Really, an Irishman telling me that was a lot. We had like 3 glasses of wine. It was very respectable. I still maintain that Dave is a really bad influence, actually. She definitely started me off on the drinking. So, I mean, that was super fun. That was kind of an invitational event. There's a lot of controversy at the moment about ladies' events, and that it's gender biased to kind of have an event that men can't enter. So I'm a little bit ambivalent. On one side, I sort of see that. I don't think, as a gender egalitarian, I don't think there should be events where someone is not allowed to enter because of their gender. That doesn't sit very comfortably with me. That said, I think that the female market for poker is a huge untapped market. And for the good of poker, we should be finding any route possible to get more women to come into live poker rooms. And if that means that men have to just get out of a few events and let the girls have a little bit of space, then I'm kind of on board with it. But it doesn't seem to be having huge success. I mean, the ladies' events that I've sort of seen or witnessed, they tend to be filled up with women who are already comfortable going into the environment. I'm not sure how successful they are at actually bringing in new boobs.
Sure.
So,
new boobs.
yeah, I don't know. New boobs.
Well, do you not think maybe since this year has been dominated by female performances in main, maybe we should have men-only events?
Very possibly, but I would gay crash a man-only event with a fake tosh and just say, this is not gender egalitarian. You can't keep me out of this event. So yeah, I probably wouldn't support men-only events. I think there's plenty of men who are comfortable. That's not to say all men. Like, I think there's definitely an untapped market of men who are not so comfortable in these sort of situations that could probably be brought into poker. I just think women, it would seem more obvious to address the imbalance of only 5% of fields, be it live poker fields, being made up by women. But they are smashing it at the moment. I think that's the best way to get women in, when we can all constantly share on social media winners' photographs of women, especially recently the party poker with a huge prize that ended up in a lady's pocket, as it were.
Yeah, one thing I always wonder about the ladies' events is, like, obviously from the point of view of an online site trying to get ladies into the game, it's nice to have a ladies' event and have ladies play it, but I guess the question is, does it translate then to ladies playing more online? I know Dive has set up a ladies-only group on Unibet, and she's actually attracted quite a few people in that way. Do you think that's a better route to try and get ladies playing online, or do you actually think the ladies' events help?
I think that trying to get women to play online is definitely a good start. I mean, I've had great success in getting some female friends to play online. They're obviously far less intimidated. There's a much higher percentage of online players that actually are female. I think that's closer to about 15 or 18% of people who play online are actually women. So I do think using the online tool is definitely a good start. I think possibly as well, so online poker does tend to fit around lifestyle a little better. Like, so often women are the primary carers to infants, and you can't really strap your baby on your back and go and play a poker tournament for 14 hours 2 days in a row, but you can kind of stay at home in your pajamas and have the kids with you and miss a couple of hands online and make it work. So I think there's practical considerations aside from just, I don't think it's all about women are terrified of male-dominated environments. I think that's categorically proven incorrect. There's just a lot of different factors forming, making it harder.
That's a really good point. Speaking as now a bit of a house husband, and I'm certainly now with the new baby thinking about not travelling quite as much next year, I do think playing online is still something I can do. Okay, if I have to do a night feed, I might have to sit out a few hands, but I could still sort of, flick in the 3 hour or 4 hour long MTTs.
Yeah, you can't really sort of take Hunter down to the casino and be bottle feeding him at the table. And I mean, I suppose
I would if they'd let me.
Yeah, there should be like a baby passport to casinos. I guess that would probably make life a bit easier if there was like a creche, the same as in any.
Oh, great idea.
Yeah. As male poker players become house husbands like you, David, we might see changes.
Exactly.
Yeah, anyone who's watched David's on Twitch knows that it's possible to combine online and Twitch and baby minding.
Yeah, exactly. Hunter's going to be a star on Twitch soon.
Brilliant. Well, when he starts just outplaying you, I think that will definitely rag in the followers. When at 4 years old, he's giving you advice on dodgy 3-bets or whatever.
Well, we're working out nursery rhymes that feature all the Nash equilibrium tables and stuff at the moment. He's up to M of 4.
Brilliant.
You were talking about hot topics in poker. Another hot topic which you never shy away from in your blog, your most recent one I think it is as well, is how poker is, I suppose, marketed to people. And Poker Night in America, obviously one of the big shows these days. They did put on a cash game there a few weeks back with Brandon Cantu and Salman Ponte, or hashtag King as he was known. You certainly didn't shy away from, putting your 2 cents there.
Yes, I have to be careful what words I use on your esteemed podcast here. But yeah, I mean, I found the whole thing horrifying. I really did. I didn't even watch the entire stream because I just couldn't. And I find that whole approach it makes me nervous. So one of the things I sort of identified in the blog, that when this kind of style of television, this cheap to produce car crash or reality TV approach of just getting people in front of a camera and allowing them to make a spectacle of themselves, that format of television was born of desperation. It was the networks being desperate because their writers were on strike.
That's right.
And how can we keep making money without these skilled people to produce quality content? And they found a loophole. And it makes me nervous that the poker television has to go that way.
Yeah, Darren and I... Yeah, no, I totally agree. Darren and I interviewed Todd Anderson there in our very first show of this season, and Darren made the point to him as well of that how uncomfortable he was with the way the show had been presented with the grudge match, if you like, between Kate Hall and Mike Dentale. And Todd sort of assured us in that show that was the kind of content he wasn't keen on personally. Yet here we go again. Another show has come out that has absolutely gone for that gutter end of the market.
Yeah, I personally feel there's a kind of survivor bias the way a lot of people look at the way poker's marketed. They think back to the early days when it was all like loudmouths arguing with each other and basically being douchebags, and that was entertaining TV, and that's what made poker. But then they don't necessarily see the effect that might have had on the people who are not playing poker. There's far more people who don't play poker, and particularly the gender imbalance. That could be down to like women looking at this going like, okay, this is just a bunch of douchebags being horrible to each other. Why would we want to get involved?
Absolutely. I mean, I think the main point for me about it in the past was also the poker wasn't great. So there was a lot of gamble. And what these characters would kind of flare up at each other about was actual activity with the cards. There'd be some crazy call with top pair and some guy would have a set. And these days, the money wouldn't go in now. People are too GTO. They'd be too much thinking of ranges. The hands will get passed. So to create the drama, it now has to come from this personal level. So we're getting... Bite backs to, you lent me money, I lent you money, you owe me money, your wife's a insert horrible obscenity. This is not how it was 10, 12 years ago. These guys did flare up at each other, but it all seems to be focused around poker. You know, it was you're a terrible player, not your wife's a whore. You can't. that is not cool. You know,
it's not cool at all. No, it absolutely isn't. Kat, in numerous blogs over the years, you've espoused the virtues of card rooms that have a kind of a fun, low stakes sort of philosophy. You now work for Redbet, a company which is definitely oriented towards the same belief system. Did you find them, or did they find you?
You know, it's hard to say because I have worked for them now for coming up 15 months. The first year was as freelancer. They were part of my sort of freelance writing roster. Did a bit of social media for them, a little bit of presenting. Went to their events, and I just really liked the brand. Like, I initially took the work because when you're writing freelance, like, I will write about anything. You know, they say write what you know. I say Wikipedia it and blag it, frankly. But, you know, I took anything back then, and I just happened to really like them as a company. You know, they paid me on time. They were always clear about what they wanted. I enjoyed going to their live games. So when the role came up, it seemed like a comfortable segue.
Well, speaking of their live games, I believe they have one coming up. It's just around the corner.
Yes, we do. We are doing 6 events over the next 12 months at the Dragonara Casino in Malta, which is one of my favourites because of the aspect. I mean, you were with us a few weeks ago and you saw the card room. I mean, it's like nothing else. I'm really looking.
It's not like a card room. It's like a fancy hotel room looking out over the ocean.
Yeah, it's a really cool kind of holiday place, and I think it's a place that's really conducive to poker with the non-serious environment. I mean, it's really hard to feel very serious about poker when you're sitting basically on a balcony with the sun streaming in and the roof open. And yeah, I thought that might change the environment a little bit. You know, it's only a €200 game. I'm looking to do a few satellites when our online site comes up. I'm looking to do a few satellites for players from the UK, because guys who are playing in the UK regularly, they haven't seen a card room like that. So it was more about the venue for me than the game. You know, the poker should just kind of be there. Let's get somewhere that's fun to drink and there's space to hang out on the balcony, and you can even get a bit pissed and go down to the beach halfway through the game. So you know.
Absolutely, and there were 2 really good features to that tournament. I really enjoyed it. The last one you organised there was one, you did a double chance sort of format. So again, for a recreational player, they could hedge a bit. They could just like play half their stack for the first few hours and make sure they didn't bust immediately, which I think is a nice feature. And then the second one was that it was almost like too well structured in my view. Like, it was like you gave people as good a structure as you would find in a 500 event or even a 1K event sometimes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's the ideal, because I've long been in the corner that just because people only play poker for low stakes doesn't mean they're not really serious about enjoying the game in its best format.
Yeah, I think with the your Redbet events, the Unibet UK tour, and obviously all the other operators are starting to launch their sort of 150 to 300 quid tours recently. I think it's definitely a different market that you're aiming at.
Yeah, so one of my favourite things about the Unibet Open is that, okay, for me the €1,100 buy-in main event is pretty high. Like, that's at the top end of games I will try and satellite into as a micro low stakes player. But equally, you turn up there and they've got a few €150 events knocking about, and suddenly that's like, oh, well, okay, I can just about afford to buy into a €150 event direct when I'm on holiday. You know, it's holiday money. So I think that sort of mentality of, yeah, we do have this sort of primary game, your main event, but then on the side you've got these really affordable events. So that was one of my favourite things about Unibet. I ended up playing three tournaments in the week there as a micro stakes player. That's pretty good.
Well, you're very good. We wanted you to come on the show and plug your own site, and you've ended up plugging ours right at the end. So I think
well, I love Unibet. I mean, I'm not a big fan of competing with other poker brands. All the poker brands that are going to survive, to me, there's an element of having to think of each other and work a little bit together, work around each other. Because 10 years ago, there was so much money flying into the game that you could open 5 new poker brands a week, online and live, and probably make some sort of income off that. And now we're competing against golf, cinema, bowling alleys. So to me, there's got to be an element of rally. And if another brand does something well, like Unibet consistently do, like Party Poker did with the Millions events, I think you have to stand up and clap your hands and say, you nailed that, guys, well done.
Yeah, here, I agree with that totally.
Yeah, totally, yeah.
Well, on that moment of mutual appreciation and agreement, I want to say thank you so much, Kat, for joining us today.
Cool.